Hello, gamers.
Hello, gamers.
So, Peach and I have been watching very closely, even if we haven't been to the scrims in person. We've been watching all the VODs, and we've seen a lot of watch point, and we've seen a lot of dive. And we want to take the time to explain some things about dive. Like in general, with like how you're playing it, how you should play it. Um, so yeah, I guess we just start with what dive does in general.
Yep.
Yeah. So dive is pretty much putting all of your pressure and damage into one centralized area and location, and taking that location and saying, "This is mine."
Yeah. Usually, you've known dive in the past to be Zen's forehead. That is the centralized area where you jump and you just destroy. Like, the point of a dive is to usually eliminate someone or some people by jumping on them with the brunt of your team and just consuming them with cooldowns and things like that.
Putting literally everything you have into that one area.
Mm-hmm. So a big key to the playstyle of dive is diving like it's gonna be your last. That's what I always heard on my teams. Like,
Yeah.
everybody commits as hard as they can to complete the dive as possible. Now, the variation that we run that we are running on this map is Sombra Dive, which is very interesting because the standard dive comp is going to be, not accounting for Echo yet, is going to be your Winston Diva, Tracer Genji, and then usually Lucio, debatably with an Ana. I usually like to see the Ana for our team, but perhaps Mercy Lucio as well. Why the Sombra pick? Why do we swap the Tracer from traditional dive with a Sombra?
Remember how you were saying dive used to be Zen's forehead? Sombra pretty much creates Zen's forehead with whoever she hacks. It's literally like I described it as an index finger. She literally points at someone and says, "I want them dead," and then just does this. And now they can't do anything, and you put literally everything you have into them, and hopefully they die. And even if not, they are not going to want to hang around.
Yes. So, the point of Sombra Dive, and generally your little gameplay loop of Sombra Dive, is staging, getting yourself to a place where you can dive. Sombra is running around looking for a hack target. When she finds one, oh, and by the way, hack targets are coming up in a second. When she finds a proper hack target that she would like to hack, she hacks them, calls it, and the rest of the 5, or 4, whoever can afford to dive, will jump on them and hopefully kill them without their ability to use their cooldowns.
Yup. And even if it doesn't go right, like if she hacks the wrong person or whatever, still go. Just
Still
like
call
we
it.
said, full committing, just always going in and just going. Like, don't be afraid of it, because the problem that dive will have is there's very low personal damage, I'll call it. Like, each character doesn't do that much damage on their own, but once you put it all in just one spot, it gets a little rough around
Piles
the
up
edges.
for sure. So let's discuss hacking targets. Who would you like to hack as Sombra?
Typically, in a full dive scenario like this, with a lot like low damage, typically a squishy that relies a lot on movement. So you guys seem to see a lot of echo in this matchup. Like when you're attacking, the enemy team is defending. I think I've seen an echo literally every time we've played this map on a defense. She would be a great hack target because she relies so much on her cooldowns to do damage and her flight to get away from you. And if you take that away from her, she dies so unbelievably fast, it's not even funny.
Yeah, like her stupid little
So,
thing,
like, that would be...
pressing shift is a huge cooldown. I use this to escape and get out. I do my little pew pew pew, and then it's with the laser. And it's all so fun in games because she's killing everybody. Sombra holds right click on her for a little bit? Not so. And then we can smash her head in like a pumpkin.
0.6 seconds to be specific. But yeah, another great hack target, Lucio. He also requires a lot on his movement to do anything, and also, since his crossfade counts as an ability, not as a passive, you take that away from him, so he becomes, like, useless,
Yeah.
literally.
He cannot wall ride, he cannot heal, he cannot speed. He can't use beat, which is one of the major plays you'll see from Sombra's running Sombra Dive. is disabling beat and then investing ultimates. So
Yeah. But yeah, hack targets in general, squishy targets that rely a lot on movement. If it comes down to tanks, typically you don't want to hack tanks, especially because of how we don't have a lot of damage. And typically, if you're hacking a tank, they're going to have an armor pool or something, and that's going to make it really hard on the team to do any damage. So that's typically you want to avoid the tanks and dive as much as you can. And I think Sombra just kind of enables that, where she'll hack someone behind the tanks. It can be anybody else. It doesn't have to be like all the way back ledge of first point. You don't have to go full in like that. If you want to, you can if Cart's there. But we'll talk about that in a second too. But yeah, Sombra is pretty much the pointer finger for your dives. Like if you ever don't know where to go, that is blatantly your Sombra's fault.
yeah, unfortunately,
And we can talk about that in the mid fight because it's, like obviously in like the context of a mid fight it might get a little spread out, but that's where it's really important for us to all stay together. So
yes, after that almost octave pop, that was really good actually. Let's
Thank you.
get into some rollouts. So
Okay,
we've noticed an interesting rollout that we like to take, and I ask us
we'll
why.
give you the play-by-play.
Yeah, so we can time
I-
this.
I'm going to time this.
Oh, very well.
All right, we're gonna start here. All right, 3, 2, 1, go. So the whole point of this rollout, I assume, is to cross bridge and get your Ana to this position up here. That's fine. We scout here. That's fine. We sometimes tend to sit here and heal for a little bit, so we'll just take like 5 seconds to do that. All right, crossing 3, 2, 1. We scout some more, and now we're here. That was 21 seconds to do that.
The
I'm
whole
going to show you
sequence.
all something. I'm going to show you all something that is, it's wonderful. It will do exactly what you're trying to accomplish.
And the best part is
in-
you've already seen it. You've probably already
You've
done
seen
it.
You already done it. Are you ready?
Here we go.
3, 2, 1. You know how long that took? Do I need to say it?
So,
Yeah,
we ask why. Why do we put our Ana here? Well, so she can heal the people up top. That makes sense, right? But what if they're running a Widow? What if they dive our Ana up here? Well, of course, that puts her in a sticky situation that will force her to rotate, either die immediately or rotate to the bottom. So we ask ourselves, why don't we just put Ana here from the beginning? There's no point to put her at unnecessary risk, and the rest of our team can very speedily take high ground with that rotation from just the top here.
There's also another really good reason to put Ana there, and it has been probably your main problem in pretty much every time you've played this map. Volume warning, push the cart.
For
Please?
those of you who cannot hear after that, he said push the cart. So yes, pushing the cart and the cart progress was a major problem, specifically in the last Gibraltar VOD, or the replay that I watched. We didn't push it for about a solid, I don't know how long, but it was very, very much too long. And we lost
typically
out on a
don't
lot
push
of...
cart until the 2-minute mark
Yeah. So,
from spawn.
yes, as we round this corner and the cart rounds this corner, Ana will have natural cover to hide behind. She'll be able to LOS some of high ground from up here. Really nothing extreme, the team just rotates back. If they need healing, look up here. And like if you go blue box and pretend you need healing and stuff like that, and oh, ouch. Like I can still LOS you here, there, wherever. So there's no
Yeah,
disadvantage
typically-
to putting your Ana here.
Yeah, typically everyone is going to be up here except for the Ana. So Winston, D.Va, Sombra, Genji, Lucio. I had to think about that. We all play up here, and then if things get hairy, they just go down here. And then guess what? You're all on cart, because cart's probably going to be up at this corner by now, and you'll have that natural cover to use. And then they can no longer play from this position because cart's going to be under the bridge.
Yep.
And they don't want to stay there because if they just let the cart push past you and they aren't there to meet you on this corner, they are basically screwed. And okay, so really quick, I am gonna kind of do a little Sombra thing because, like I said, how Sombra's the pointer finger. That's also another reason why it takes so long. So basically, what happens is Doc runs. I'm not gonna go all the way there, but Doc, you run
Hey,
all
wait.
the way to server room. What?
Oh wait, I wasn't ready. I didn't see you.
Basically, Doc, you run all the way back to server room and hack that health pack. That, in its own, takes probably 30 to 45 seconds to do. I'm going to show you something. So, going back to that rollout, Sombra can take that rollout if she wants to avoid being scouted because there's about a chunky cover to hide. So, you run out here. Translocator here. Don't hack the health pack.
Yep, there's no need because
Keep
nobody's
going.
gonna contest it.
Yeah, no one on the enemy team is going to contest it. No one's really going to take it. Stand here, decloak, hack. Because your team will have scouted who's going to be there for you, and you'll already, as a team, probably have decided a hack target at this point.
Yep. And so,
if you
like,
decloak behind
consider...
these boxes, if you decloak behind these boxes, they can't really LOS you until you jump up here for a hack. But by the time, they're not going to be able to react to that because they're going to be looking up in this area where I'm shooting because your tanks are going to be up there and your Genji. So they're not going to be looking at you. They're going to be, the front line's going to be facing that way. That gives you a free hack on whoever is squishy in their back. And then if they start to pressure you, you're there, and your Ana will be able to see you in under a second.
Well, funny stuff.
And that whole rollout takes about 10 seconds, maybe, if even. But yeah, server room, you do not need to control, let alone hack the health pack until you have card progress up to that point, because no one's going to contest that health pack from you. And also, it just puts you in their back line. Like, what if they find out that you're translocating there? That's a death that you do not want to have to deal with. Oh, we ran out of time.
Alrighty, let's start that up again. And so, yes, we've gone over. D.Va goes with Winston in the top right rollout.
D.Va always goes with Winston, always, everywhere, all the time. That's just it. That's just it. If D.Va's not with Winston, whoever's in their team dies. Like if Winston's in their back without D.Va, he's dead. If D.Va's in their back without Winston, she's dead. Those two literally provide cover for each other by existing around each other.
Yeah, Romeo and Juliet have to stick together almost always. She can peel for the Ana or whoever she needs, but in general she should stay next to Winston, and Winston should try to self-sustain as best he can. So yeah, as Genji, of course, you can roll up here with your tanks if you'd like, just a double jump and a wall climb there. Suddenly you're all good here. Now you have vision to blue boxes, you can do the thing.
You can play the off angle from the bridge too if you want.
Yep,
if you get low, draw it down here and you're on payload. So that also works. You can also wall climb back up to the bridge really easily.
This is Genji's natural ability.
Yeah. So, now let's talk about the second half. Because if we are pushing card, which I pray to God we are, this is where I'm going to start talking about... Do you want to talk about the support rotation that I mentioned, or do you not think that's a good idea?
Yeah, that's a good idea just to put it out there. Okay. So, yeah, here, you take it away.
So we give everyone some little information tidbits. Okay, so...
Hello. Oh, this is my...
I'm Peps for the day.
I'm Kaiju for the day. Yay!
Alright, so... we would prefer Ana plays cart and plays from cart up until this corner.
Yep.
By this time, when cart gets under the gets to the underpass, Lucio takes over on cart, and Ana begins her rotation up to this high ground, so that we can start operating from this position. And by operating, I mean the dive tanks can fall back here. Sombra can take one of these health packs, maybe under the underpass or in server room if she wants to play that aggro. Ana can play this upper position from blue boxes, and if she needs to, she can drop down the ledge and even there, drop down underneath and play from cart. And then by then, we don't really need to do cart progress because then we're just looking to like win the team fight entirely.
Yep. So yep, Ana takes rotation here. I, Kaiju, take the cart and escort it. Dun, dun, dun.
We start staging as a team up here. Maybe
if you need heals, I can amp you from up here, because remember that Lucio's heal isn't just for the same plane as you, or on the same 2D plane as you, it is a 3D sphere.
Oh, turn it up.
Yeah. Isn't it like a cylinder though, even? Like
I'm not actually sure, but it does heal you from up there.
The heal be here?
Yeah.
That's just or
Yeah, so if
she
you
can
need
play
heals,
here.
like, where do you generally jump on this comp? Like, either a lot of times it's going to be here or from blue boxes up top. And Lucio will have line of sight with you there. So,
Yeah, easy.
easy peasy, gentlemen. Alrighty,
Yeah.
so,
Just
get
like that.
speed back
Right,
to
I'm gonna go
spawn.
swap off. So we're gonna start talking about the ult combinations that you have available. There are 2 of them. Nanoblade and EMP Bomb. Nanoblade works great in tight spaces, and EMP Bomb works great in open spaces. If you want to clean up last point, EMP Bomb is probably your best bet. You can do it with Nanoblade, but it will probably be a lot harder to pull off just because of how many places the enemy has to go as like a team and as a unit. So like EMP Bomb out in the open is a mucho bene.
It's a molto
Like
bene,
especially
you
if Sombra drops off this ledge here in EMPs, she could like if she comes from server room, she could drop off this ledge here in EMP.
Up here.
It's really good. Diva Bomb is typically going to be placed like around here in this area. Try to get the tanks out. You're probably going to want to do it a little bit earlier in the team fight just so they can't retreat behind like tracked or whatever. And even if like Sombra wants to play from up here, potentially hack somebody that retreats back here, and then you have your dive target. Like, there you go. And then yeah, Nanoblade would be better in context like second point when you're trying to clean up that. That's probably going to be your team winning ultimate combo. But yeah, you typically do not want to commit the 2 combos in the same team fight because that's honestly just a waste. If you used one combo and you haven't gotten any kills out of it, that's what I consider a lost team fight, and you just need to dry fight it out and just play as you would normally play dive and not use your ults like at all. In the context of the other ults, Beat and Primal, those are basically bailout tools. Primal is just for Winston. You can do a bit of displacement, and if you want to try and work with the EMP bomb, that's cool. I will say this, never use Primal when a Genji is blading. I swear to God, and I swear to God.
So, friendly, you mean, right?
Yeah. Like, if you Primal at the same time Genji is using his blade on your team, you want to knock them away or around or somewhere, and he wants them near him. So those 2 things do not work together at all in any way. EMP Bomb, if you want to like jump in there and knock people out in the open, that's like okay, but it's more just like save your own ass, really. Like if you want to make like a deep dive and like stay in, that's really the only time when it's good. Beat is just your team bailout tool, usually.
Yeah, like,
if you
usually
wanna, like,
if...
flip the team fight, stuff like that.
I was gonna say, beats, generally, you can use it either as a sort of tempo ult, where you use it in mid-fight to empower your team and give them a bunch of health to take a dive and, like, really do some damage on a target. Or you can actually try and use it to, like, well, as Beat is, as a defensive ult properly. This means if the enemy team is also running, like, Sombra Dive or whatever, or if they have the opportunity to EMP, then you start playing defensively, hide around corners. To not LOS the EMP, then you come out with Beat, do your thing.
Yeah, like, it's super important as Lucio to not get EMP'd, like, especially in Beat, because EMP will just completely get rid of all shields. Like, it counts like how Zen loses all his health, and Zarya loses half her health. It's the same concept because they're temporary shields, they all just get depleted instantly.
So, beating before EMP is never a good look. Beating after EMP is one of the best in the game. So,
Yeah.
really just mind be
Smile.
patient, and if you smell her in the air, if you can smell, you know, that little scent, the smell
So you can
of cheap perfume.
You typically know.
Yeah,
you know
know.
when she's gonna do it. Namely, when she throws a little device into the air and then is in that location.
Yeah, when you haven't seen her for a bit, and nothing's happening, and then it's just like, I sure hope she doesn't have any ideas. Anyways,
Okay.
let's see. So yeah, that's
But yeah, we spent a lot of time talking about first point because we have the most problems on first point because we never get past first point. Just to restate this, 90% of your problems come from not pushing cart because you have no pressure on this side of the map.
so
like,
remember
the whole
our
reason for
support
taking
positions?
the whole reason for taking quote-unquote dives on this first point is to force them into that back part of first point. And you need to do that as fast as possible.
So pushing them from out here and generally by blue box. over to out here if we can, and lower on the ground here. Literally just pushing them, because that's what Winston and D.Va do best. They push you. They're bullies.
Yeah.
And if you see an isolated target, especially if you're Winston or Genji, which is like Winston's advisor, let them know. Like, you know, you wanna kill them. You wanna dive them.
Be like,
You are
hey.
a dive comp after all. Like,
But damn.
as your Lucio, you can go for aggressive boops back into your team. Just don't overexpose yourself.
Yo.
And we're
Alright,
gonna
but,
talk about
yeah.
anything else.
Run through the rest of the map really quickly.
Sure thing.
Second point, you're mainly going to see fights taken on this corner, and then if they stall their kills long enough, here. So initiating with an early EMP bomb back into like putting it right here, and I say right here because it covers this little hallway. If they try to run back there, and it covers this entire area except for like this corner, if they're like ready for it. But early EMP bomb can work if it takes too long and the payload gets around here into this area, and you don't want to use EMP bomb because at this point they're going to be operating from positions where they can easily just hide behind cover. Like there are people going to be here, people are going to be here, back on that right ledge, up on airplane, up there. Then Nanoblade would be your go-to.
Yep.
But yeah, don't do both. Like don't EMP bomb and then Nanoblade after. That's only if you like get a couple people and then they stall long enough to get respawns, then you can Nanoblade, because then we're probably going to swap. Let's talk about third point really quick. No, wait, we should go back to second point and talk about how to play it. Yeah, basically same sort of concept. They're not going to want to take full fights on this first half because it's so like dominated by us, basically, with all the cover that we have. They do have a bit of high ground control, but hopefully the D.Va and the Genji can handle that.
Just pepper 'em. Make them think.
Yeah. Once we get payload to about this corner, this is where you're going to want to start playing from airplane or high ground. Just because it'll make it really easy to drop down on them, like cut them off here, put a bubble here. All of a sudden they can't be healed by probably their Ana or whatever they have, Moira even. It's a really good bubble spot, and then you can just kind of jump around this corner, and then you're fine.
So
Or, hell, even if you want to like, even if you want to jump in here, Sombra is typically going to hack this mega right here.
Yep.
So this would be a good place to retreat to. And then you also still have that same principle, drop down, bubble, covers almost the entire choke, literally. Yeah, that's typically how you want to play that. And then you can, again, start making the full engagements. Sombra is typically gonna always want to play from high ground, hack from here. Like that's typically your best bet. Maybe top of airplane. Just be wary of that back little door, because they're typically going to come from that direction. Genji, same principle, play from high ground, take off angles. You're like one of the highest damage outputting people in this comp, at least single target, so keep that in mind. Ana, it just kind of plays like somewhat behind cart, I'm imagining, for like this first point, like playing here-ish.
So yeah, when
So that way she's not exposed to like that back ledge, and she could just kind of walk back here and be okay, I'm assuming.
in general, yeah, we should be
Yeah.
safe there. Depends on what they're running.
And then Lucio's typically the one that's going to stand right behind the tanks. Maybe like up and stay up here.
Yeah, boost them, boop them, do everything, you know.
Yeah. And you can get out because you're protected by the Winston bubble. Yay! But yeah, and then clean up second point with ults because you're going to need ults for this last part.
Yep.
We'll leave it up to you depending on cart progress. Third point. Swap off Winston immediately. Keep D.Va if you choose not to invest EMP bomb and you still have it. If you're like close to it, like 90% each, then you can keep the Sombra Diva. But if you're like halfway there, do not keep them, swap immediately. Where you can only keep Sombra Diva if you have EMP bomb going into this technically last fight, because the only spot you're going to take fights on this is probably here.
Yep.
And then anything beyond this point is stall phase.
It's one of the most annoying stalls in the game. But yes,
Uh-huh.
swapping to Rhine Zarya, ideally.
Yeah.
Rhine Sigma is also on the
Sombra
table.
is typically going to... Oh, sorry.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Sombra is typically going to swap to a long-range DPS, or a long-range hit scan, so McCree, Widow, Ashe, whatever you feel like you want to play, or if you feel like McCree flash counter something, Widow counter something, go for it. That's up to you guys. Genji can stay, sort of. He works, but not really, because there's not really a lot of good positions for him to play from on this back point. So you can kind of decide as a team what you want to run instead on this last part. Typically someone that has like a huge shutout ultimate. So like Mei, maybe. No, not Mei. She doesn't really do all that much.
I think we can keep the Genji to control bridge up here. Like,
Yeah.
have an Ashe
Keep
or
Fiona and
something.
Lucio because yeah, Nano Blade is still your go-to. Widow just kind of does her own thing. Grav is your best securing ultimate, if that makes sense.
yeah, to secure the dub,
just kinda-
use grab.
Yeah, pretty much. Like again, you're gonna need some form of ultimate when Cart gets to around here to get it past that point. And it needs to be a big one, so like Nanoblade or Grab, or all of them, honestly. And Reinhardt just exists because Winston on this last part sucks. That's why I say swap immediately on Winston. Even if you have Primal, Winston does literally nothing because of this corner and the sight lines that you can take. There's nowhere for him to retreat to. Really, that's safe. So you just want to get rid of him immediately. Ana, you know more about Ana positions than I do.
Yeah, so as on this point, like chances are you're either going to be with the cart or trying to make sure that we are all doing okay in the front line as we play this corner. So generally you'll start out here, you'll rotate here maybe. You can play here or here and contest this high ground if you need to. There's also this health pack here, which is super fun. But yeah, basically you just play the long angle if you need. If you're uncomfortable with like facing other DPS and stuff like that, you just hug this left side and just boost your tanks. They'll really appreciate it. And as we go out more into the open, you can start to play the cover on the sides as well. But yeah, in general, further is somewhat better on this point, I think. Makes it harder for the enemy to find you, and your Lucio is fast and hopefully can peel for you. Like that.
Okay. In conclusion,
Today we learned that Dive is a comp that singles out targets. Singles out targets or a target and just smashes them, crushes them like an egg. That's what we want to do with our cooldowns, just flatten these people. You pick a target. Yep.
A target doesn't always have to be a person, it can be a location. Like if you just want to say dive high ground to put pressure in that area, totally fine. You can look for a hack in that area, but that's typically for, like I said, first point, like very first attack, like the first half of that, that's typically your go-to. That's more of a locational dive. That's like forcing them to play from a position that you can more easily capitalize on. And then you don't want to start taking like full dives until they're in a spot where they can't retreat as easy. Or you don't have to commit as far, if that makes sense. Sombra is the pointer finger. She dictates basically where you're going to dive. If she's not present, make sure you're all communicating, or the Sombra is communicating that with the team, so the team is able to decide how they want to play, if they still want to make full engagements without the Sombra, or if they just want to wait and just kind of not show, and just play behind cover. Please don't ever show as dive. Like, don't take poke damage. It's like Brawl. It does literally nothing because you can't put anything back at them. EMP Bomb is your first combo. Nanoblade is your second combo. Never use them in the same team fight. Unless it's like a last fight situation, then just fuck it. Q.
And,
Again,
yeah, don't
everything we
forget.
say is taken with a grain of salt. What we say, like, I try to avoid being literal as a coach because, like, there are different situations for everything. But this is just trying to be, like, a general guideline to how you should play. We can get more in-depth as it goes, but you guys really need to get the fundamentals down first.
And remember, as coaches, it is our job to provide not only guidance, but alternatives. So if there's are any variations that you would like to make to the comp, please let us know, because we just love grinding this stuff out. At least I know I do. And, like, my god, yeah, it's just so much fun. So yeah.
Theory crafting compositions is literally my favorite thing to do.
Literally make us do our jobs. feel free.
Please.
Ask questions. Send us VODs. Do the things. Yeah, so don't forget the
Complain,
support rotations
criticize
as well.
us.
Yes,
Criticize us.
because we'll never get better if we don't know what we're doing wrong. Much like
if something's
everyone.
unclear, or if like something we say doesn't make sense, tell us. We're not gods. We just play the game. It's arguably a little too much.
We could go pro. Yeah, anyway,
I mean,
whatchamacallit,
no.
that would be fun. No, anyway, so yeah, support rotations. I think that's very important to remember. So we start off with the Ana on cart down here. No pressure, just getting the cart around here. Lucio starts up
Ana.
here with the tanks. Then as soon
Ana
as we
goes
get to the
up.
cart around here, heading under this choke, Ana will take a rotation to the top left to heal the tanks, and Lucio will push the cart, maintaining his little healing aura as he gets over here.
Yeah, because again, the enemy team is not going to let the cart be behind them. The reason they keep setting up on that high ground is because you don't push cart under the underpass. Like, there's no pressure for them to walk backwards ever until the cart has reached the underpass. Then they're going to rotate to that back corner, and then you can start taking better full dives.
Just don't forget the
That's
objective.
why I say, yeah, the whole objective of this game is the objective. And if the objective isn't in a place where it puts pressure on the enemy team as dive, you're going to have a hell of a lot harder time to do anything. Yeah,
Yeah, so I think that's it.
that's it from me.
Yeah, I have nothing more to say. If you have things to say though, of course please let us know in Discord. We love this stuff. Do it. Criticize. Do the things. And most importantly, have a great night. And please enjoy.
Yes.
Alrighty. And with
Goodbye.
that, we are...
Wait.
Yep.